Educational Communications and this station present Environmental Directions with Nancy Perlman. On this series, we explore the effects of human influence on the Earth's ecosystems and discuss solutions to environmental problems which affect the quality of life on this planet. Environmental Directions gives you the kind of information you need to help you participate in decisions impacting your community, the nation, and the world. Now, here's your host, Nancy Perlman.
Hello. For the next half hour, we are going to be talking about ecotourism in Malaysia, the unique cultural and natural history of this beautiful country, and the conservation efforts to preserve endangered wildlife and ecosystems. With my guest, Linawati Binti Ismail. She is currently the Deputy Director for Americas with the Malaysia Tourism Promotion Board, or Tourism Malaysia. Her former positions with Tourism Malaysia included Senior Assistant Director, International Promotion, Senior Assistant Director, Advertising and Digital Division, former Senior Assistant Director, International Promotion, Southeast Asia Division, and Assistant Director in the Director General's Office, Corporate and Planning Unit. She has received many honors and is a member of numerous tourism associations. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad that you're talking about Malaysia, promoting Malaysia.
Malaysia is a country that I have been to many times over the decades and seen it in different ways and seen different places, and I'm excited to talk about all the beautiful ecotourism and adventure opportunities, the wonderful history of the place, and especially your efforts to preserve and protect the incredible wildlife that is found there. Malaysia is one of the 17 mega-diverse countries, home to the Malaysian tiger, Borneo elephants, orangutans, eagles, and have many areas on the coasts, and so you're very involved in reef protection. You have unique places within the urban environments where you're creating parks, and you are preserving and protecting rainforests as well. But I think we need to begin with your explaining how large this country is, how many states there are, where it's located in Southeast Asia, and the significance of Malaysia in that environment.
Malaysia is in the heart of the Southeast Asia with a total of 13 states and 3 federal territories which are separated by the South China Sea with 11 states and 2 federal territories, which is Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya in Peninsular Malaysia, and 2 states with 1 federal territory, which is Labuan, and in East Malaysia of Borneo. The total population is about 33 million, and our major ethnicities is Malay, Chinese, and Indian. As for religion, although Islam is Malaysians' official religion, other religions are freely practiced, and our main language is Malay, but English is widely spoken. You've been there, Nancy, so I think it's much easier for you to go there, that you can communicate with other people as easy as 1, 2, 3, I guess. For the climate, we have the soothing tropical weather ranging from 70 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. As for American, you need to require a visa to enter our country. The visa will be valid for 6 months. There is also, I would say, the 5 main reasons to visit Malaysia. One and foremost is it's a value for money, because the exchange rate is $1 to Ringgit Malaysia 4.7. So it is good for you to come to Malaysia at this time of the year, because it's really is a value for money for the Americans. And it is a safe place to visit, very friendly and welcome society. We also offer a world-class accommodation, and also it's easily accessible. Even though we don't have a direct flight to Malaysia, but we do have flights coming through various airlines that is coming to Malaysia. We're talking about sustainability, alright, as what Nancy has told us earlier on. Malaysia is considered one of the 17 mega-diverse countries, which comprises 70% of all non-species in the world. Up to date, we have at least 15,000 species of flowering plants, 1,500 species of terrestrial vertebrates, and some 150,000 species of invertebrates, as well as microorganisms. Malaysian national parks range from a vast forest and mangrove reserves to marine parks. Thanks to this rich landscape and large rainforest, rainforests and warm oceans that provide the perfect backdrop to observe the wildlife in its natural habitat. In terms of how do the government protect and preserve our nature resources, before this, we do have this National Ecotourism Plan, which was launched back in 2016. So this plan is valid until 2025. This National Economic Tourism Plan promotes tourism, protects, preserves and conserves nature, culture and heritage. In this way, Malaysia aims to create synergies between local communities, the economy and tourism to encourage respectful interactions between locals and visitors, where visitors can discover Malaysian culture through locals with a positive impact of the community. So from this, we want to balance out between the economical and also the safety of the environment so that our natural resources is being taken care of wisely.
You have done such a wonderful job to make opportunities available for tourists, and whether or not you're a bird watcher or you're an angler or a diver or a hiker, there are many different kinds of places. You have one of the oldest rainforests in the world, Taman Negara, but I also enjoyed climbing the highest peak in Southeast Asia on Borneo, Mount Kinabalu.
Yes.
That can be done because it's preserved in a park. You have guides helping you. There's a hut if you want to stay overnight and see the sunrise over Southeast Asia and then go to the top. And along the way, you see different kinds of levels of ecosystems. I'm not sure if I saw the durian fruit.
The kings of fruits. Yeah. Basically, Nancy, it's a country full of magic because it's full of attractions where tradition and nature form an unforgettable blend.
And one of the experiences that I continue to talk about is standing in Batu Cave and letting 6 million bats fly over my head as they went out to feed in the evening. I don't think you can find that anyplace else in the world.
Oh, yes. Batu Cave is well preserved, where that's where the place, the Hinduism, will do their yearly parade of their religions.
You mentioned the many different cultures and groups of people who have settled in Malaysia. You, of course, still have some indigenous people with their traditions, yet the Indians came from India. They brought the Hindu religion, so there's some incredible spiritual sites to see there. You mentioned the Muslims, Chinese with their traditions of Confucius and Buddhism, and of course it was a British colony for a while, so you have some of the Christian influence. And I recall in one of your cities walking a block and having those historic current religious sites all on the same block getting together,
yes.
Living in harmony.
In harmony, yes. Malaysia, I would say, is a melting pot of cultural and ethnicity. We welcome and we live in harmony. We respect each other, our culture and religions, where this has become our attractions, where in this world that you can get three main religions sit together, having coffee and live together in harmoniously. Every year we celebrate these main religious festivities. For example, like for Hari Raya, Idul Fitri, it's meant for the Muslim. The Chinese New Year is meant for the Buddhism. We also celebrated Christmas on the 25th of December and also Thanksgiving in certain states. And we also have celebrated like Diwali for the Indian races. On top of that, while celebrating the main races, the main religions in Malaysia, we also celebrate indigenous people in Sabah and Sarawak. The most famous one, we celebrated Gawai's Festival, meant for the Ibans in Sarawak, and Keamatan, meant for the Keamatan Sabah indigenous people. For the indigenous people in Peninsular Malaysia, we celebrated them in their own community. We welcome everybody so that it's become our asset to the country. Talking about the indigenous people, be in conservation business, we're also promoting the nature-based tourism, which is benefits is going back to the people for these indigenous people, whereby, for example, the best practice of Miso Walai Homestay, where it creates the job opportunities and generate income for the local population through tourism activities while preserving the local cultures, like including traditional food, language, and culture of art. So this kind of projects is not only at at one place, but we have several places in Peninsular Malaysia as well as Sabah and Sarawak. You have a variety of experience. You have, when you come to Malaysia, you have a variety of experience. You experience the city center. You experience the village. You will experience the traditional one. It's very colorful in Malaysia.
Because you have so much multiculturalism, there are so many other traditions in arts and crafts, and quite frankly, I could bring home suitcases full of souvenirs, from cloths to masks to instruments to all sorts of new and old items that are available. The Malay cloths are so famous.
Oh yes, they are. You can talk about from the famous beads of Sarawak to the textile like songket and batik in Peninsular Malaysia. You can have the experience to do the batik chanting, to do some beadings, to do something like jewelry from Sarawak, and also from the Peninsular Malaysia as well.
The only thing I can't bring back in the suitcase, but I can bring back memories in my head and my stomach, is the incredible food that I can enjoy. Because again, with the multiculturalism, the buffets, the meals are incredible. You've got 50 dishes to choose from for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh yes. You know, Malaysian people is always famous with their warm hospitality and friendly people. When we go to, somebody's houses, for a social visit and things, the first thing we ask is, sudah makan? Meaning to say, are you already eat? If not, the host will cook something for you. If you're talking about food, we need to go for a gourmet trail in Malaysia, because we have this luxurious breakfast. And I always say this, when you are in Malaysia, you will have a breakfast like a king, lunch like a king, and dinner like a king.
Or a queen.
Because there is so many things to choose from. As what we are talking before this, when you are in a hotel in Malaysia, you will see like 50 to 60 dishes just for breakfast, from bread until rice. So you can choose all different types of breakfast, which include of like nasi lemak, the famous Malaysian cuisine nasi lemak, and then we have the Chinese cuisine, for example, like the dumplings, and then we have roti canai representing the Indian breakfast. Then we have our continental breakfast.
There is so much to do and see and enjoy in Malaysia, and we're going to talk more about this wonderful place that tourists can visit sustainably and ecologically with my guest Linawati Binti Ismail with Tourism Malaysia when we return in a moment.
Environmental Directions with Nancy Perlman continues with further discussion of the world's critical ecological issues. For more information, you may call 310-559-9160 or go to www.ecoprojects.org. Now, here's Nancy.
I'm speaking with Linawati Binti Ismail, who is the Deputy Director for the Americas with Malaysia Tourism Promotion Board, or Tourism Malaysia. We've been talking about so many different kinds of opportunities and your conservation efforts, but let's talk about some of the animals that you may or may not get to see. I know that there's a rehabilitation center for the wild orangutans, which are one of the major primates, great apes, that are only found anymore on Borneo, both in Malaysia and on the Indonesian side of Borneo, as well as Sumatra. But you have the Borneo elephants, you have Malayan tigers, you have eagles, and of course you have many different animals in the coral reefs and coastal areas, including bioluminescent plankton one can go see. Tell us about some of those opportunities, because I know you have marine sustainability projects such as the Coral Triangle Initiative, Sipadan Island's annual closure, the Reef Check Malaysia, the Meriset Research Organization, the Langtenga Turtle Watch, and the Scuba Junkie. What are all those efforts to save and preserve and understand our fellow creatures on the planet?
To save this rich biodiversity and ecosystem, the government of Malaysia has established extensive network to protect areas, including the national parks, wildlife reserve, and forest reserve. These reserves are supported by the legislation such as the National Forestry Act. To safeguard its rich biodiversity and ecosystem, the government of Malaysia has established an extensive network and protected areas, including national parks, wildlife reserve and forest reserve. These efforts are supported by the legislation such as the National Forestry Act and also the Ecological Fiscal Transfer, which incentivize the state governments to protect and increase the coverage of protected areas. We also promote the urban green space preservation because this is the key component for the city living in Malaysia. Through these initiatives, the Kuala Lumpur Forest Eco Park and Penang City Park has been developed. So some of the government initiatives in Malaysia include the orangutan rehabilitation centers. This is where we globally acclaim that orangutan conservation facilities dedicated to rehabilitate and provide sanctuary for orphaned and injured orangutans. One of the orangutan, as you know, is one of the world's most endangered primates. There is a Sepilok Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in Sabah and also Semenggong Wildlife Center in Sarawak, where you can have a one-to-one or an experience in this wildlife center. Besides that, we also have the Heart of Borneo project plus a central forest spine, which both initiatives is aimed to protect and restore the forest ecosystem. And also we have this Kina Batangan Community Conservation Area, where this project in Sabah empowers indigenous communities to participate in wildlife conservation and ecotourism while fostering sustainable development. And another one, I would say, one of the initiatives also is the Forest People Program. This effort is underway to protect the land rights of the indigenous communities in Malaysia who face challenges such as land encroachment and inadequate legal recognition. So advocacy groups like Indigenous People Network of Malaysia and the Forest People's Program work to secure these rights, to empower the communities politically and support their land management and self-determination. So this one is some initiatives for the land efforts. We also have initiatives for our underwater paradise. As you know, Malaysia is famous with a dive destination. For example, Sipadan Island. It is a popular diving location, which is a world-class diving location. It closed for a month in December because to conserve the marine life down there, it will mean a lot of revenue to the island as well. Besides of the closures of Sipadan, we also have this Reef Check of Malaysia. This Reef Check of Malaysia monitors over 300 coral reefs each year, engage in marine conservation and management. One of them is Cintai Tioman, Coral Reef Expedition to Tioman Island, that provides a vital data on coral reef health and human-induced threats within the Tioman archipelago. And beside that, we also have the Coral Triangle Initiative, which address the essential issues such as like food security, climate change, and marine biodiversity. It's focusing on ensuring food security through the sustainable management and marine natural resources. This initiative also consider because of the climate changes. Besides that, we also have this MERSET Research Organization. This is, I would say, an organization which uses bioacoustic data to develop mitigation strategies such as managing boat traffic and deploying pinches to prevent bycatch. And we also have Pulihara. Pulihara means in Malay means conservation. It conducts the beach patrols at Lang Tengah Island, Tanjung Jara and Chakar Hutan Beach to protect the Malaysian sea turtles, which is aimed to prevent the local extinction by safeguarding turtle eggs from poachers and natural predators. This is some of the initiatives. We also have like Scuba Junkie, which promote sustainable practices like green waste system, solar energy and biodegradable products to protect marine and terrestrial ecosystem. So Scuba Junkie also operates an eco-friendly dive resort on Mabul Resorts. We are so proud that our private sector partners also give back to the overall conservation commitment by the Malaysia government. Many of the hotels and resorts in the country do beach cleans up with their employees at least once a month. For example, I would quote like Taras Beach Spa Resort on the Redang Island, which has an in-house turtle conservation lab, which is run in conjunction with Malaysia See-Through Reservation Unit, which is See-Through. too.
These are wonderful, excellent programs, and it's good to hear that the government and the private sector are working together to protect and make the tourism opportunities sustainable and ecological. I always encourage tourists to hire local guides, because while they can walk the trails or the towns by themselves, they won't see and know as much by themselves. I recall on Langkawi, our guide was one of the world-class bird watchers, and we would drive along and he would stop and say, "See that?" And I said, "What? I didn't see it." He saw it, then he pointed it out to us with the binoculars, and it was spectacular what we saw. So it's very important to use local people who have a knowledge of the land and the places to have a better experience.
Yeah, to make your journey in Malaysia more experienced and more memorable, I would encourage you to use the local guides, because not only they will, explain to you things happen here and there, they will give you some tips how to go around here and there. So this one you only can get from the local guides.
And it's good that the hotels are becoming more sustainable. I stayed at the greenest hotel in Malaysia, and the owner showed us over 200 ways he made his hotel ecological, and the meal was organic food from their own garden.
Yes, nowadays in Malaysia, most hotels are practicing the green hotel policy, where they promote reusable towels and everything. Yeah, which is a good effort by the private sectors.
While you have excellent infrastructure in Malaysia, the roads are excellent. The roads are so easy and safe to go on. You can also go bicycling or hiking on the trails, and those are experiences for people who are more adventurous.
Yes, for people who do more adventure, they can do biking, whether in the city. We also have like a road cycling, mountain biking, country biking, and biking tours to discover all the nature and culture. I would recommend for people who likes to bike in Malaysia to include the Kampung Tanjung Piai in Johor, to experience the rice field in Kedah, terrain in Pulau Tuba, and also to explore the heritage sites in Alostar in Kedah.
Not only are there national parks and preserves and ecosystems that are protected, there are a lot of heritage sites. How many have been recognized by the government?
We do have some site that is recognized by the UNESCO, especially in Penang and Malacca. Those heritage sites is been taken care by our federal government. Also, other heritage sites that is by the initiatives of the state government and also by the federal government.
You also have river rafting.
Yes, we also have a river rafting, our white river raftings.
In addition to sightseeing in the daytime and enjoying the beautiful cultural programs, dancing, song, food in the evening, one should also consider doing some night trips to see eagles, firefly river cruises, bioluminescent plankton. It's different when you go out at night in the natural areas.
Yeah, like what you have said, for example, like the fireflies at the mangroves. We have it in Selangor. It's really beautiful because it's a different kind of experience that you can express it. One must try this kind of experience. Besides that, we're also promoting the glamping. For example, you can do stargazing at the camp. Well, we also have this kind of experience for people who like to do camping.
We mentioned some of your national parks, Kinabalu, Taman Negara, but you have Gunung Mulu National Park. How many national parks do you have? How much area is protected that one can go out and enjoy seeing nature?
Basically, we have a lot of national parks.
It's always hard when there's so many beautiful places to enjoy.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, I would love Mulu National Park because Mulu National Park is one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It is famous for the pinnacles, which is a series of 45 meters high of razor-sharp limestone. We have a deer cave in the Mulu National Park, which is the largest cave passage in the world. You also can experience the bat exodus, especially during the dusk. You can experience that in Mulu National Park as well.
There's so much concern about rainforests being cut for palm oil plantations. Are you to making sure that the rainforests are protected and that the palm oil plantations do not go into virgin territory?
It is a very complicated issue, but we are aware of the need to fight the unnecessary deforestation while also being mindful of the economic livelihood of our population. Meaning to say, we make it balanced. We will not allow any illegal deforestation, but of course we will maintain and we will reserve our rainforest, because the rainforest is our assets of the country. We must take care of that. We are the country with 56% of our country is still a rainforest. So we want to keep it that way.
When I'm in countries like Malaysia, there's so many tropical fruits, and it's great to enjoy drinking them. What about the durian fruit? What is it, and what's it taste like?
Durian, we call it as the king of fruits. It's seasonal, and it has several types of durians.
We talked about the arts and crafts, and there's such a variety. I went to a pewter factory and saw the largest pewter cup in the world.
Selangor Pewter Factory. This Royal Selangor Pewter is our first pewter company that produce. Can we skip the pewter things? The Royal Selangor is our biggest pewter handicraft shops. They have this called school. They call it the Hard Knock School, where you can have this experience how to do your own pewter to bring back home. So it's a kind of a souvenir for you to bring back home.
You mentioned that there are 13 states, 3 federal territories. How different are they?
The 11 states is at the Peninsula Malaysia. I would say they have their own uniqueness. For example, like the beaches and also the Taman Negara, Pahang. And the other 2 states, which is apart from the Peninsula Malaysia, which is separated by the South China Sea, which is in the Borneo Island. We have Sabah and Sarawak. They are rich with this marine paradise, especially in Sabah. And also Sabah and Sarawak is very famous with their multicultural of ethnicity. It's different from the Peninsula Malaysia.
Since there are so many beautiful plants and animals to see, so many wonderful places to take adventures both on land and in the sea, can you sum up the nature experiences?
Wow. For a nature lovers, I would say Malaysia is a playground for you, because you can do so many things in Malaysia. For example, like camping and glamping, track and trails, do the nature walk, and also you can do the rapids challenge. Also, if you have the adrenaline rush, you can do the scaling and also cave explorations, and for mountain biking, bird watching. And if you're only just moderate naturalists, I would say you can just go to our wildlife sanctuaries and experience our nature.
As I mentioned before, I've been to Malaysia many times over the years, seen the changes, seen different places. I can always go back because there's always a new experience, a new place to enjoy, and the people are so friendly and welcoming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish we had more time to talk about all the different places one can visit, the history of the area, the conservation work that your country is doing, places to enjoy, but we'll have to have you back to talk more in the future about other opportunities in Malaysia. I'd like to thank you so very much for being my guest.
Thank you, Nancy. Pleasure to be with you.
I have been speaking with Linawati Binti Ismail, who is the Deputy Director for the Americas with the Malaysia Tourism Promotion Board. I'm Nancy Perlman. Thank you very much for joining us, and do tune in again next week.
If you would like free information about these environmental issues, go to www.ecoprojects.org or call 310-559-9160. Environmental Directions with your host, Nancy Perlman, is a community affairs program of the nonprofit organization Educational Communications and this station.